Welcome to the Observeday podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Observeday podcast. This month we're celebrating Sleeptember, a global awareness campaign that shines a spotlight on the importance of sleep for our health, productivity, and overall well-being. Joining me today is Anthony Guastella, a certified health coach through the Institute of Transformational Nutrition. Anthony's own journey through significant health challenges has forwarded his mission to help others reclaim their energy, vitality, and freedom. On his podcast and platform, he breaks down complex wellness topics from nutrition and hormones to sleep and mindset into practical, actionable steps that anyone can apply. Anthony's passion is clear. He knows firsthand what it's like to struggle with health and is dedicated to helping others experience life in its fullest. Today, we're going to dive deep into the connection between sleep and health and how getting it right can transform our lives. Welcome to the podcast, Anthony.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah. Can you share a bit about your personal health journey and how sleep factored into your own healing and transformation?
Absolutely, yeah. So I had a Lyme disease diagnosis that lasted for 6 years, and I could experience every symptom you can imagine through thyroid issues, joint pain, which was the worst, fibromyalgia. I can go down the line. And, I was left with two choices, man. I can either be a victim or a victor. And being a victim, I was 16 years old at a time, so I can look forward in the future and I can see a very dark life, right? It's because I was suffering beyond like all measure. And the doctor said I could not get well. Like things were not looking good for me. But what I did have, man, was I always had that purpose orientation, was always focused on a higher mission. And I did not now I have no idea what I needed to do in order to get well.
Yeah.
But I listened to my heart and said, hey, I know it's possible. I'm going to be resourceful and find the ways. And so through that journey, man, I learned all the tools of wellness, personal development, mindset. And ultimately, I knew that not only am I going to heal from this, I'm going to get better and help other people do the same and become the greatest versions of ourselves and live on purpose, man. And you attributed it to sleep. So, how that influenced my journey in terms of wellness overall, like I like to lump into relaxation and restoration as well, because those go hand in hand. Because the body, it cannot heal without being in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also known as the rest and digest. And sleep is the number one form of that. And other things of relaxation, restoration, meditation, things like that, which is basically designed to assimilate all the things that you do. If you do not sleep well, you cannot heal. If you do not relax, you cannot heal. And the main thing for me during that was I just had to take control of my mind in terms of relaxation and restoration, because we think the craziest things, we feel the craziest things, and it's going to put our system in a state of stress. And knowing that, it's going to prolong the disease. So the faster you can relax or get your sleep on and the restoration, the faster you're going to heal and live a better life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for clarifying that. A lot of persons, when they hear sleep, they know that, oh, sleep is important, but they don't even understand why. They're like, oh, we're supposed to rest. Yeah. Like, they know it's important, but they have no idea why it's important. Like, unlike food, right? If they say, oh, you need to eat, like, I know why I need to eat. Like, I need, the body needs energy to like function and all that. I know why I need to like breathe in air. You understand? But for sleep, like, I need to rest. I understand that, but sometimes I'm not really tired. I don't really go out of the house to like walk intense walk. Why do I even need to sleep? And they don't really understand the reason behind sleep for good health and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it right there, man. A lot of times you'll hear, I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? Well, the reality is you'll just be dead. Like it's a totally different thing. Imagine that. When it comes to wellness, man, like we talk about all the pillars like nutrition, exercise, like all these great things we're getting throughout the day. But we don't understand is that at night, this is when we assimilate all the goodness we did throughout the day. So you're digesting all the nutrients to help rebuild your tissues. You're recovering from exercise. You're kind of de-stressing all the things from the day. It's like a whole reset for your entire biology. Now, in terms of the importance of sleep, like, of course, I can get into the science of all the aspects of it if you want to focus on a specific thing. But the reality is that getting in that parasympathetic nervous system is going to help us rebuild tissues, repair, and just having that foundational mindset of what it can do for us is the first step, I believe.
Yeah. What are some of the impacts one would experience from having poor sleep habits?
Yeah, that's a great point there because a lot of us, we are sleeping, but we're not getting high quality sleep. And we can learn to listen to our bodies throughout the day, right? Because we had this fatigue in our culture where we're not living up to our full potential in a sense. And a lot of it comes down to energy. Now, the sleep,
Hmm.
as I mentioned, we can either be focused on quantity and quality, right? Now, both of them are very important, but essentially, we're so focused on the quantity of sleep, which is like the arbitrary measurement of 7 to 9 hours, which is good. It's a good measurement. But I find a lot of people, man, we're waking up feeling exhausted even when we get that. And the reason for that is the quality of sleep. So if you're forgetting things throughout the day and you just had this low energy, it can be a lot of things, but a lot of times it comes down to sleep and sleep quality.
Oh, oh, I know I did ask you about the impact of poor sleep habits, but one of the things I realized that we did not even clarify, we've not really talked about is what are what are some poor sleep habits? Some persons they sleep, but they're not really. How do I say that? They poor sleep. Basically, that's it.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of us we don't go to sleep, we just kind of pass out. We're like we have this idea in our culture where we have a morning routine, right? We have a
Yeah.
great morning routine. Like we got that going on, at least like in the personal development space. But the average person, like we just kind of roll into bed. We don't really have a routine like we did when we were kids, which was a good idea, like from parents and things like that. So poor sleep habits, man. We got the Netflix going on. You got all the bright lights before you go to bed. On your phone, the technology, it's a big piece.
Yeah.
But in terms of the sleep habits themselves, like how do we actually start to build a foundation or a high quality night routine to kind of set us up for greatness the next day? And some simple things that people can start to get in touch with is lighting, right? Because at night, it's dark out, right? And we secrete a hormone called melatonin. Now, many people have heard of this, but it is essentially the get good sleep hormone, which means that it helps you cycle in and out throughout the sleep cycle. So it doesn't really play as much role as putting you to bed as it does through getting high quality sleep. So the thing about melatonin, it is suppressed through blue light. So a lot of artificial lights, they contain high amounts of blue light, and it's not just blue light, it's really all lights at night except for red. Because, ancestrally, we would have fire. And so this is actually proven not to disrupt the circadian rhythm at night. So red lights. I actually have red lights in certain parts of my house. So it kind of sets up for sleep when I'm in that environment. So
Yeah.
this helps you kind of wind down. And use of technology, we're on our phones all the time. And so just there's certain shifts you can do, like using like certain softwares to help dim our lights. Like a lot of iPhones, they have these now, and computer screens. Like there's a software I use called Iris. You can basically make the screen this red or hue. So if you have to do work at night, so it's basically making the environment more mellow in a sense to help you adapt and help yourself wind down to sleep. Those are some simple things, but if you want to get me any further into sleep habits and things that actually increase sleep quality, I can definitely continue down that path if you want.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observeday newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation. Yeah, one of the layman observation I've noticed is that sleep. Usually, when we talk about sleep, sleep is important. Sleep is important. I've noticed that sleep is is not independent in terms of the other health factors. What I mean by that is that your sleep will affect your how you eat, your appetite. I'm just guessing, right? Your sleep,
Absolutely.
what you eat would also affect your sleep, right? And so it's like
Yes.
it's this full cycle that they all work together in harmony rather than sleep is important. You should sleep well and you'll be good. No, it's like if you do other things, it could also affect your sleep. And if your sleep is messed up, it could also affect other areas of your life.
100%, man. There's definitely a synergy, as you just mentioned. And, so when it comes to sleep, it is responsible for building the hormones, the neurotransmitters, things like it's like, say, testosterone, for example. Now, we have this thing where we go to the gym and we get it. That's like the main thing that people comes to mind. But actually, number one thing when it comes to hormones like that are sleep. Like, there are studies that, for elite athletes and Navy SEALs, there are some of them that have very low testosterone. Yeah, that would be very surprising. And this is so what they attribute it to is the high amount of stress, the low amount of sleep and recovery. And this makes a lot of sense. And they have big muscles as well. So this is
Yeah.
why you need that holistic health, that synergy. And so, I mean, when it comes to the sleep and the hormones and the neurotransmitters and all that, we have to keep in mind that these actually require certain nutrients in order to rebuild itself. So there's certain sleep and nutrients, right? So we can get because the foundation of hormones and neurotransmitters is actually proteins. Like, those are actually required in order to build these. So some things that come to mind when it comes to sleep nutrients are tryptophan, which is it's an amino acid. So some sources of this can be like fish, nuts, and what this does, it's a precursor to a hormone called serotonin. Many people have heard of this. It's like the happiness molecule. Now, serotonin is the precursor to melatonin. So you see how this builds on each other. You need these precursors in order to build the hormones and neurotransmitters. That's just a simple example.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
For someone who struggles with insomnia or inconsistent sleep, what are some foundational changes you'd recommend they start with and today?
Yeah, man. Like, it's going to be so personalized, but I'm going to mention two things that are probably the top two when it comes to sleep quality. I may mention another one, but having a completely blacked out room. So many of us, we have street lights coming in, we have some form of lighting, right? And the reality is you don't want to see your hand in front of your face. You really want it to be that dark. Now, the stars and the moon, that's all good. We've kind of evolved with that. Like, we're used to that. And the lux, which is kind of the brightness of the lights, it's a measurement. The moonlight doesn't even compare at all to the simplest light. Remember reading something. It was a study done. I believe it's Cornell University. They had a light that they shined on the back of someone's knee while they're sleeping, and that was enough to disrupt their circadian rhythm and their legs. Our eyes have 70% of the photoreceptors, but our skin has it as well. Our skin has
Yeah.
30% of photoreceptors. So we can have the TV on in a room where we say our eyes are closed. And by the way, I mean, this is obvious. There's going to be some light that gets to your eyelids, but your skin picks up the light as well, which is why, I mean, obviously, sunlight would be a perfect example. So just keeping things like that in mind. So get yourself some blackout curtains. I'm telling you, man, this is the number one thing I did for my sleep. Like, when I was recovering, the number one thing was getting some blackout curtains, and it helped boost my restoration and recovery like immediately. And we don't really know that because we have these lights in all the time. So that would be a simple thing. Number two is sleep in a cold or at least not hot environment. Because if you go anywhere in the world, the temperature drops, right? We undergo a process called thermoregulation at night. Now, this is basically how your thyroid, which is basically the master of metabolism, it kind of slows down and helps you get into deep sleep. But you cannot do that if you're sleeping in a hot environment. When it comes to research, it can be like 62 to 65, but honestly, you don't really need to do like that. It's really just not sleeping hot. You can do that, but ultimately do what works for you, because a lot of people, they don't want to do that. Because, I mean, 62 is kind of cold in a sense, right? But
Yeah.
just keep the temperature down. That's what I said, the top two. And a third one, I'm going to say, is actually going to be happening the morning when you wake up. So get bright light, I would say, within 2 hours of waking. This will help set your circadian rhythm, which is basically your biological clock that has the hormones that are secreted throughout the day. It's very important. We have something called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is located in the brain, and it's in the master gland called the hypothalamus. What this basically means is that when you get light, which is the number one thing to influence your circadian rhythm, it's going to have you much more gracefully transition throughout the day. Because hormones, these are indicators of how you feel. It's very important.
Yeah.
Like, so having that in the morning is going to set you up for a great night's sleep at night. Just getting that bright light, getting that sunlight as much as you can in the morning, great idea.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. While we are having a conversation at the beginning of the episode, we there was a phrase you use, and it's what a lot of persons believe in this culture, and that is sleep when you're dead. How can we reframe sleep? Not just something that, oh, it's important, but to really realize that it's a non-negotiable part of this personal development, this success, and every other thing that we're chasing.
That's a great question, man. Yeah. Getting enough high quality sleep is going to actually make you much more productive, because a lot of times, like, entrepreneurs and business owners, they don't understand the quality of sleep and the importance of it, just like you mentioned. So they kind of go throughout their
Yeah.
day being the subpar version of themselves. I mean, just give yourself an experiment. Do it for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, and see the difference. Your cognition is going to go through the roof from what you're used to. Like, a lot of us in the creative space, like, we're writing or podcasting, all these things. It takes a high level of cognition. It's almost like you're this mental athlete in a sense, right? And your brain is doing that work, which we go under this process while we sleep. It is so we have a glymphatic system in the brain, which is basically something that cleans out all the debris and the inflammation and the things that we go through throughout the day, helping our brain stay clean and clear. Like, it's like a defrag for the computer, it is the brain. So how do we reframe it is it actually makes you more effective throughout your day, because we kind of get into this mindset that I don't need sleep, I'll just do more things like that. But no, you're going to be a lot more effective with the time that you do have. So that's how I would reframe it. You start to experiment and see how putting these things into practice actually helps you throughout the day.
Yeah, usually people would say, "Oh, work so number of hours and all that," and I get it. One of the things I've noticed is that there are days where I work a very long time, and there are days where I work for a very short time. Yet it's as though I worked like for a very long time because of the amount of work I got done. And what I noticed about the difference in both is that it's the attention, it's the focus, the the attention and focus. This is not there if I'm trying to recover from a night of of poor sleep. It's not there.
Yeah, man. Just like you mentioned, it can be difficult. I mean, our body is very forgiving. Like, if we have a hard night's sleep, we can recover fairly quickly from that. But, like, people are chronically sleep deprived; they're chronically in the state, and that's why they don't understand the importance of it, because they're so used to it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, for clarifying most of the concepts and for
For sure.
those recommendations you gave for someone who is struggling to sleep consistently. Uh, what message would you want to leave with listeners the during this Sleeptember uh, uh, period?
100%. So when it comes to wellness, as I mentioned, so sleep, nutrition, exercise, there's certain foundational practices that make these things actually work. It's very tangible for exercise and nutrition, right? We eat well, we, eat the things that work for us, real food, organic. So the thing with sleep is that there's also high quality practices that actually make you have high quality sleep. So putting those things into work and taking that action. And I would say, man, you must prioritize your recovery, whether it's sleep and or just restoration, having this white space throughout the day where you're able to pause because there's so many distractions, and giving ourselves a space to think and really kind of evaluate ideas, right? Really get to know our values, things like that, to actually live our best life, because we're carrying around these things that aren't ours. And if we could actually just come into this place of peace within ourselves, it's so much easier to kind of not only live our best lives, but actually have a mission and stay focused on purpose every single day.
Oh, thank you so much, Anthony. I do have some questions, lightning round questions. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
What's a morning or evening ritual that's non-negotiable for you?
So every single night, I basically, I'm thinking of lightning round, but essentially, I spend about 30 minutes in the dark. It's kind of like a meditation session. And this is actually where I get my ideas for writing and articles. And it's a lot of solitude within that. So just basically spending time in the dark and paying attention to my thoughts.
Yeah. What's the biggest sleep myth you'd love to debunk?
Yeah, we said it was sleep when I'm dead. Like we need to understand the quality of our sleep and, just getting past our paradigm in a sense is number one.
What's one resource, a book, podcast, or tool you'd recommend to listeners wanting to prioritize sleep?
Number one book is called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. Is a very good book. Not only does it get into the science, but it gives you very practical steps, which is what people need. They need the practical action steps, not this huge scientific book that you can't really understand. So getting those practical steps, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Anthony. Where can listeners learn more about the work you do and also connect with you?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man. If you want to learn about health, wellness, personal development, you can check out my podcast, Anthony Guastella Wellness. And again, this is where we move the mission and really kind of bring the tools of wellness to people to become the greatest version of themselves. That is the goal. That is the mission. And also, I have a website, anthonygastella.com. So where I write articles, I coach, and I get the word out as much as I can, and I want to be of service every single day. So I appreciate you having me, man. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, Anthony. It's been an absolute delight chatting with you.
All right, man. Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of the Observeday podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.